Welcome to Subramoney.com. Today I am going to bring in to this video a lot of experience, in the sense that all that I have learned over so many years, all that I have read, all that I have spoken to, right, all that is, and I am saying what are the Subramoney's keys to personal financial success. This is based on a lot of reading from a lot of places, so you could find a lot of similar blogs at least elsewhere, if not videos. So what are the keys to your personal financial success? So let's start at the very beginning. You have to first of all take charge of your finances. Many people keep postponing and saying kal karunga, parso karunga. This is one of those things where there is no date, right? So procrastination becomes very easy. Why we pay our telephone bill and electricity bill is because if you don't pay on that date, the line will get cut, right? So personal finance has no such deadline. Karo nahi karo, mat karo. Koi farak nahi padta. So we keep postponing. Don't keep postponing. If I were to write a book on personal finance, I would say take charge. Take charge of your personal finances. So do that. Second, get a good education or get a good source of income. So I am not saying that everybody needs to be educated, but assuming that you get educated, get a good education and or play cricket or be in acting, it doesn't really matter. Get a good source of income. And for heaven's sake, when you're taking a decision based only on earning, take that decision based on 10,000 people in that profession earning. So 10,000 cricketers, what they earn would definitely be less than what 10,000 doctors earn, or 10,000 cricketers will definitely earn less than what 10,000 brain surgeons will earn, right? So don't go by one model and say, oh, Sachin didn't get educated, Dhirubhai Ambani didn't get educated. Doesn't matter, right? They had something else. Maybe you don't have anything like that. So get a good source of income. Save well. You need to save not less than 20% of your income. Don't go by the American standards of 10%. Remember, they have social security. So don't go by American books. You need to save at least 20% of your income, of which 10% is for your retirement alone, right? That's not something very small. It's not so huge that you can't do it, but it is not so small that you can keep ignoring for a very long time. Ideal age to start investing is 22. What normally happens is 33. Try to beat that and try to start at 22, 23, whatever. As early as you start, the better it is for you. Next is, now you have been smart, you have created your income, you have created your saving. It's very important that this saving money or saved money should be invested wisely or invested smartly, because if you don't invest properly, the money will not grow. It will remain in absolute terms exactly where you started, right? For the younger generation, one more important thing is, don't use credit cards for the credit facility. Use the credit card, yes, wherever it is. I use it extensively. It's very convenient, whether it's 240 rupees for a coffee or whether it is 800 rupees for a shoe or 8,000 rupees for a shoe. Doesn't really matter. You can keep swiping, but pay the money 5-6 days before the due date. So if your bill is due on 13th, by 5th or 6th the payment should be made, just to give yourself some extra cushion for some transaction not going through, etc., right? So which means you're using the credit card for the convenience and not for the credit facility. Do not use it for the credit facility. Something which I thought was very obvious, but I'm still saying it because I'm saying here is a full list, is live within your means. Spend less than what you earn. Don't ask your parents to bail you out, or today even worse, asking your children to bail you out. It's becoming pretty common for senior citizens to be overspending and expecting the children to bail them out because the children are earning very well. Don't do this. Live within your means. You earn 100 rupees. Remember the old Hindi song, Amdani Attani Kharcha Rupaya. That can't happen. You can't earn 50 paise and spend 1 rupee. Don't do that. Don't get into debt because you have overspent. There are very few reasons which justifies getting into debt. Definitely this is not a reason to get into debt. Take adequate term insurance. When I say adequate, what happens is when a person is 35 years of age and he is hit by cancer or kidney failure, his first reaction or her first reaction is, I wish I had more insurance. General insurance, life insurance, medical insurance, life insurance. You can't get any of this the minute you're identified with any particular illness. So if you have kidney failure, that's end of life as far as insurance is concerned. After this, you will not get. If you already have, great. If you didn't have, you won't get. So when you're in perfect health, you're 22, 23, whatever, and you're earning well, just take insurance. And at 32, again review how much insurance you have and how much you need, because by 22 it would have looked very big, but inflation would have eroded it, and your lifestyle may be very different. At 22, maybe you were not even independent. You were earning, but you were staying with your father and with your parents, so you didn't really have to worry too much about whether you have adequate insurance. You took it because somebody asked you to take it. It was not a thoughtful process. Now apply thought, and by end of day today, make sure that you have a reasonable amount of term insurance, assuming that tonight you will get cancer, right? Make sure that you've made your will, especially if you have real estate of your own. Make sure you have a will, and understand the importance of making a will. Understand the importance of showing the will to your cooperative society and saying, this is the document that I am going to leave for my wife, and this is adequate. Will you transfer this house to my wife and children or whoever you have named, and will they be able to sell it? That is far more important, right? So making a will, making sure that it's a well made will, and the society approves the draft. Do all this when you are alive. Taking term insurance is fine. That is, you're providing your wife and children with money, but knowing how to use it, how to pay the electricity bills and utility bills, dealing with society matters, right? All these things have to be taught. It won't come automatically to your wife or to your children, right? So you better take some action regarding that also. Don't purchase any financial product which you do not understand. Like I said, you need some basic things. You need a savings bank account, you need a health insurance, you need maybe some little bit of fixed deposit, you need an index fund, you need life insurance, which is term insurance. Other than this, you need a will, right? Baki sab bakwas, you can afford to say no as long as you don't understand. If you want to buy a product, I have nothing against buying the product, but learn to understand the product. And remember, as long as you have not paid the check, you will get answers to all your questions. If you have questions after you buy the product, nobody is going to give you the answers. Sometimes what happens is, if say a person has died, the person who helps his wife, the widow, could have some financial hold over that person. So he'll say, I'll help you with the insurance, etc., etc. And then he will also try to sell insurance to her. Now she is emotionally charged. She sees him as a very good shoulder, and on which she cried, and it would be a lousy product, right? So be very careful. I know a person who was sold child plan based on the children's life when he contracted cancer. He had contracted cancer, so he was emotionally not very stable, and that's it. He brought a product. Luckily, he was from a very rich family. They could afford to pay the premium. But otherwise, your main source of income is gone, and who is going to pay the premium, right? He knew he couldn't take insurance for himself because he had cancer, so he took it for his daughters. To me, it makes no sense. How will the daughters have paid? Luckily for them, they had a good estate, and they had business income, so somebody paid for it, but it doesn't make sense. Make investing decision based on your understanding and your long-term goals and your ability to sleep at night when the market fluctuates. Equity markets will fluctuate. Debt markets also may fluctuate. So are you in a position to take that fluctuation? Is your heart ready for it? Is your stomach ready for it? Your brain may be ready for it, but if your stomach is not ready for it, then it does not make sense. So don't base your decision on emotion. Make sure that you collect all the data, understand as much of the data, and then go ahead and buy the product. You should own your home, but it comes with a caveat. Buy it late. Don't buy it at the age of 28 with a 90% borrowing. No, that doesn't make sense. Buy it at the age of 48 with 80% of your own money or 90% of your own money. That makes sense, right? So minimum of borrowed money. I know I'm a shareholder of HDFC Limited, and it's in my interest that you borrow from HDFC Limited, but not in your interest that you borrow money and buy a house. Wait, take the house on rent. At the age of 50 or 48, you can decide that yes, now it is time for me to move into my own house. Buy it at that stage. Don't be in a hurry. There's a solid explanation for this, but that I'll do in a separate video. If you are married, it is time that all your decisions are taken jointly. Explain things to your children. If your phone has a password, make sure your daughter knows it or your son knows it. Make sure that if it is fingerprint operated, make sure that your children's fingerprint or your wife's fingerprint is also added to it, right? So otherwise your phone will not be accessible to them if you are dead. When you're taking medical insurance, make sure that you take a general big insurance. Okay, so you take a 5 lakh insurance and a 20 lakh super top up. I'm fine with that, but don't take anything like cancer insurance, etc. It doesn't make sense. Take a broad insurance which covers everything. How do you know whether you will get cancer or kidney failure? So you take for cancer and you get kidney failure. That is worse, right? So don't take for any specific narrow illness pain, and don't tell me it is only 500 rupees a year or 700 rupees a year. The risk which you do not want covered should come free, right? You do not want the cover, so don't bother taking cancer insurance. It's an overhyped, overmarketed product. If you want to take critical illness and you understand, by all means do, but make sure it covers 5-6 illnesses. You're taking some probability saying this might happen, and this happens, I will need so much of cash. That is the probability that you're working on. Don't narrow it down to one illness. Prepare for life changes. There would be changes happening in your life, like your kids would get married, you could lose your wife could lose you, so which means your family has to be prepared for life changes. And you might be slightly better prepared if you sit and talk about it. Prioritize your financial goals and work towards it. Don't just write down financial goals, and writing down is a fabulous first step, but having written it down, work towards it. Don't keep postponing ke kal karunga, parso karunga. Procrastination is the biggest enemy. Don't do that. Your greatest financial advisor is undeniably you yourself. Nobody can do a better job than what you can do. You have no reason to do a bad job. I cannot bribe you into buying a bad product for yourself, right? So do that. Share your prosperity with the society. Pay your taxes honestly. Make sure that you talk to friends, relatives, etc. Help people who need. COVID has been bad for all of us, but it has been terrible for people like carpenter, plumber, hairdresser, etc. They have struggled far more than what we have struggled. We can look at it as involuntary, but vacation, they can't. They do not know where their next meal will come from. So have gratitude to God, saying what you have given me is fabulous. So dayenu, if you give me more, great. But if you do not give me anything more from now, you still given me a lot. Thank you.